Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
George Carlin once said, "Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups." What is a good example of that? World War I, everyone was ready to cheer on war, until it turned into a 4-year meat grinder. And 99% of other wars with public support throughout history, too. World War I is taught in schools as usually as a precursor and cause to WW2, which it was, but, man, schools don't teach it enough. It's hard to really explain to people that WW1 really broke the entire world order in a way that is unfathomable now. And it was all pretty much pointless. Free imperial states fell, Eastern Europe and the Balkans was made into an unstable mess, and several of the conflicts that exist in the Middle East today can be traced back to WW1. WW1 truly was the Great War, but not in the way that the participants thought it would be. Edit, almost 24 hours later, I forgot to mention that the Ottoman Empire also fell, but my original intention had to underscore the fall of the 3 emperors of Europe, and instead I phrased it as empires instead. That's on me for being imprecise. The United States of America, United States. It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. George Carlin. When you're born you get a ticket to the freak show. When you're born in America, you get a front row seat. George Carlin. Gestures broadly at everything. Gesture harder. Gestures wildly at everything. Reddit and that Boston bomber fiasco. The Fedora Bureau of Investigation. Anti-vaxxers. My uncle's mate is one of them, started talking to me about chicken noodle soup being a cure-all until I said, so all those polio people in the iron lungs just needed chicken noodle soup. That's what you're saying. Chicken noodle soup. Fucking morons. Breaking news, chicken noodle soup is found to be the cure for cancer. MAGA, obviously, January 6th being one of many consequences of those awful people. And every day we are suffering under this corrupt regime. 1/3 voted for Trump, 1/3 didn't bother to vote. The problem with the US is significantly more than just MAGA. You might be able to sleep at night under the illusion it's only the MAGA people that are the problem, however the reality is it's your entire culture that is the problem. Money isn't speech, corporations aren't people, unlimited money in elections leads to oligarchy. Until you and your people fix those foundational issues, your country is doomed. Citizens United screwed us. Flat earthers. What power? Maybe the power to ignore and convince others to ignore all scientific evidence pointing to a round earth going back thousands of years and really basic common sense. It's beyond just stupidity, it's practically TA cult. Flat power. Informal car meets. No, your ability to drift the car isn't going to improve when you are high, drunk, being spectated by rowdy young men and have an illegally modified car. These tools meet up every few weekends, in the late evenings, at a mall parking lot. You can hear them doing burnouts and donuts in the parking lot from a few miles away, and some of them end up racing in and around the suburbs. Over the past few months, 3 racers have died in separate race accidents, and 2 unrelated bystanders killed. Cops always show up too late. Everyone trying to leave a festival at the same time through the same one-car gate. I myself just pull a few folding chairs out of my trunk, sit back, and people watch with my friends. I do this at the boarding gate. I do this when the plane has landed. The fuckery is now people believe that just because they're standing in the aisle, they have the right to leave faster, and have not understood the concept of deplaning row by row, which absolutely was the norm when I started flying 25 years ago. I do squeeze in and go out. I do also usually get my overhead luggage so fast that the line doesn't slow down. Broadly gesturing at, well, almost everything. I've never understood the urge to be the first on into a cramped airline cabin with a seat that's not near as comfy as the ones at the gate. I guess you might get your bag gate checked. At an arena I see concerts at, when it's over, the police open up one gate that if you turn left, goes right to the interstate. Everyone uses that gate. Meanwhile, there's a gate they open up that you can turn right out of, I guess for locals that live in town. No one uses that gate. But what people don't realize is, if you use that gate, you can go all the way around the arena, and merge onto the interstate. The cops will actually stop the traffic coming out of the gate they opened, and let cars coming from around the building through first. Makes getting on to the interstate super easy after a show. Here in Europe we have thousands of large groups of hooligans. Each time that there's a football match they devastate pubs, streets and entire neighborhoods. They behave like animals and fight against other hooligans and the police burning whatever they find on their way. I've never seen a real gun in my life except for the one time I was in Barcelona during a big game. Huge guards walked the streets with MP5s. As an American who grew up in a rural, conservative area, this statement is nuts. UK here, reform voters. Brexiters. I am from N Island, so we have our own supply of basket cases here, but fuck me, that election was a stunner. People complaining about Brexit, then voting for the cunt that delivered it. I didn't think there was enough cocaine in the world to make that happen. I envision a new Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Scotland, and maybe Cornwall, rejoining the EU as the new Gaelic Republic. The fact that you can see a spike in Google searches for "what is Brexit" after the majority voted in favor of it is incredible. Same thing happened in the US after the 2024 presidential election. Massive spike in "what are tariffs" searches. People on the internet laugh a lot about the gruesome fate of Dutch ex-leader Johan de Witt in 1672, but it is a very good horrifying example of what the masses are capable of if you manipulate them by spreading lies to stir up their unrest and dissatisfaction. It was a deed that was not even normal by the standards of the time, and yet more and more people seem to have no care for the consequences of creating similar monsters these days. By the time the man was lynched, he had already stepped down from his position as Grand Pensionary of Holland. Never heard of Johan de Witt. What do people find funny about his death? The Dutch hate the rich. It's turned into a meme about the Dutch eating their prime minister. Apart from the inaccuracy, it's pretty sad that it has been turned into such a joke, especially in these times in which misinformation is constantly used by shady people to gain power over the masses. Trump voters. This, simple-minded people. Truly, the common clay of the New West. I'm saying this as a devout Christian. Some Christians. COVID really sent me, as it was one of the more memorable times I watched people that claim to be of the same faith act anything but Christ-like. I believe in God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, heaven and hell, but also logic. Like holy moly, seeing churches gather at the height of things, no masks, saying they wouldn't let the government hold them back, only to later post on FB asking God why they lost Mimor and Pawpaw so unexpectedly from COVID after they went to church and caught it. Like, newsflash, that wasn't God, that was them being a selfish dumbass and reaping what they sowed. And the whole vaccine thing, like, yes, I believe in power in prayer, but I also believe God put intelligent people on this earth to create medicines, heal via surgery, and spread medical general knowledge for our benefit. It's like that story where a city is flooding and assorted help comes by a car, then a boat, then a helicopter, yet the man stranded on his roof denies each option to leave, saying God will save him. He drowns and asked God why he didn't do anything, and God replies saying he sent a car, a boat and a helicopter to help him. Also, for what it's worth, I'm Christian but also pro-choice, pro-marry and love whoever you want, pro-religious freedom, etc. I have my faith, but I'd never use it to dictate how someone else should live or be. I believe in power in prayer, but I also believe God put intelligent people on this earth to help make medicines and spread medical knowledge for our benefit. Now imagine what it's like for the people who don't, as we are forced into it as part of public policy. We get to watch, drown as these morons fire the rescue crews. I am reminded of that joke about a priest during a flood, refusing multiple rescue attempts by others in the belief God will help him, just to drown in the end. When asking God why he didn't help, God says he sent all these people. In short, it seems really weird to me that so many Christians in America seem to never consider that God created masks and vaccines. Mega Church. The current government of the US. MAGA. Removed, just social media in general. MAGA. Hoa board. Conspiracy theorist, like the ones who think Democrats all drink the blood of virgin kids. Or that birds are really drones. The flat earthers who constantly prove themselves wrong. But how about Scientologist? They follow a religion made up by a sci-fi writer. A man who literally made a living writing fictional stories made a whole religion and everyone just jumped on board. To be fair, the birds being drones thing is supposed to be a joke. The people who, at least initially, claimed birds aren't real, were making fun at those other conspiracy theorists. So maybe that helps you feel better. Or maybe people actually think that now because they're stupid. The modern flat earth movement started as people just fucking around too. The problem with doing things like that is it can attract the real dummies who can't recognize satire. I don't actually know if the same applies to the birds aren't real people. I haven't come across any that I thought was serious. The Republicans. MAGA followers. MAGA. MAGA continuing to support the blisteringly fast destruction of America. Trumplicans. MAGA. All religions. January 6 terrorists. Organized religion. This concept is ruining my country in real time. MAGA. MAGA. Reddit. Trump voters. Trump supporters. Republicans. MAGA. 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 Just stop oil protesters. You will never convince me they aren't funded or egged on by oil companies because they have done so much damage for their cause. We don't even need to go into the problems of getting rid of oil when they somehow convince themselves to vandalize electric vehicles too because of their investor. Suddenly the message isn't oil, it's, we are more righteous and can do this. MAGA. So stupid. Unfortunately large. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/second_Donald_Trump?wprov=safelar1 LGBTQ for Hamas rallies. MAGA. Abortion protests. Trump. The Kool-Aid drinking extremists of any political party. Think man, think. Followers are idiots. MAGA. Turn on Fox News. The MAGA cult. MAGA. MAGA. They've done more physical damage to America's economy, healthcare, job market, science research and development and educational system than any foreign country in the last 90 years. Donald Trump is president for the second time. Putinism, religious extremism, MAGA.